You are doing good. I feel your power growing. But don't get overconfident. It is a long way to the Valley of Death.
Oh.
Don't patronize me, priest. We have an agreement. You guide me to Lady Death, I turn the hag to cinders and break the curse. Save the caring for your voodoo dolls.
The Ashmaster is silent, staring intently at the flames.
Why me? Wouldn't the other outcasts be a better fit for your mission? What do the flames say? Where are they?
The Ashmaster frowns.
I see each of you went their own path, but only yours led to pain and suffering. This is why I choose you.
Don't lie to me, priest. We were all there when the ash box broke. It can't be that I'm the only one facing consequences.
Life is not fair. Who knows better than you?
Lucia stares into the flames, lost in thought.
Be that as it may, I'm keeping my end of the bargain, and you will keep yours. If you trick me, then even the gods won't help you. When do we move out?
Departing at dawn.
It's funny that we owe us still being alive to Magnus. Hadn't this damnable dwarf broken the ash box, we'd have killed each other that day. Lady Death counted on this, no doubt here. We survived, but parted ways mortal enemies. And these bastards were the only family I knew. I'm full of rage and regret.
This art style is definitely, like, it's got that, not necessarily post-apocalyptic world, but kind of in a sense. But this one, there was a curse that was put on the world, made everyone sort of mutinous. So it's good. So it's got that dark, dreary look to it. And Spire's definitely not a happy place, but it does have that little bit of comical overtone to it, or undertone even.
There is no mistaking this smell, the dire marsh. This is the place where primordial miasm creates diseases, and from where they spread across the continent. Watch your step if you care to keep your legs. This sickening place is thriving under the curse. I asked the herbalist to prepare additional remedies. Breathe through a cloth. The air is soaked with poisonous spores. Rushing headlong into the swamps is a foolish idea. We'll have to camp here. Primordial miasm will not miss the chance to test his fresh infections on us. He will find us on his own. Once we cleanse this pestilence, we should be able to cross the marsh.
Zanza, thank you so much for the biddies. What do we got here? Unicorns? You shared rewards with 10 others in chat. Wow, if you guys got a free a new emote from Zanza's Cheers, let me see what they are. They look cool. Pride Party, Pride Cheers. I've got the Pride Cheers one. What Pride emotes do I have? Pride Take is one of the best ones. I've got a couple of the other ones. I've got the fish. Lion Hay is pretty cool as well. Okay, so we get all our cards back, which kind of sucks because that includes the all the curses we don't want. But we can just pay to have them put back away, I guess. We could dismantle them. I don't want to dismantle them. We can't do any of that. We don't have anything there. Can we do anything with his upgrades? No. Okay. Yeah, so even though we got through, I can't help but feel like that death puts us back so much, and maybe instead of buying it for 100 gold, spending the 100 gold on something useful to stay alive is better. It'd be like buying a lizard tail in nah, it's even worse than that. But like just getting him to burn cards straight up at 15 a pop's probably fair. Like just Did I ever play Coin Crypt? I did not. Draw 3 cards that cost 0 mana points. Ooh. Stun Bomb. Apply Pyro on opponent. After detonation of any Pyro Bomb applied on this opponent, apply a stun. That's cool. It was a game of this genre, but it was before STS, so it never got any attention. Huh. It's funny though, like I don't know that... I mean, we look at that because STS had such huge success in the roguelike deck builders. Do you think other games get more attention now because of that? Or do they still get do other games get the same amount as they got before? We just never noticed because, you know, getting not much attention for this sort of game is the norm. You know, whereas STS really sort of just, it was just a breakout sort of superstar for some reason. They just hit the mechanics in the sweet spot. It definitely wasn't a timing thing. I don't think there was the perfect time to bring that sort of game out. They just managed to, yeah, hit those mechanics just perfectly. And then go ahead and ruin it. I really like the dungeon. This one's close too. I just go take that. Oh, how many goblets do I need? What were we doing with the extra goblet? Can't remember now. I don't know, like... there's definitely been an increase, but I don't think it's anywhere near saturation that like other markets have. He's stealthed already? Well, that's kind of poop, isn't it? have fired him. Oh. Oh, there definitely has been. I don't know about number of players in the genre. I mean, obviously you have to include the STS players, but I don't know if other players, like, I'm really bumbling my words here. Okay, so a lot of players have joined the genre because they're playing STS, but I don't think those new players to the genre are necessarily playing other games in the genre. There might be like a small amount, but I think the reason most people that are playing other games in the genre that had not played roguelite sort of card build or deck build games have come to it is because they know someone that has put in a lot of time into STS. Like, I know a lot of friends of mine or supporters of mine from different genres. They're like, oh man, you're always streaming STS and putting a lot in it. They watch me play it, and after a while they're like, I'm going to get it and have a go. But then they'll also see me playing a lot of other games like it, but they don't pick those ones up. I just want to keep those. I want my blazing torch, and there is fireballs in the deck. Let's get rid of both of them, actually. No, I can't risk it. But there's definitely been an increase in games coming out like this, or like STS, or in between. I guess that's the thing, right? Like, he's stealthed. Popular game happens and makes people that are looking at making games be like, okay, well, what can we make? Hey, this is kind of a new thing. Maybe we can get in front of the wave. It's smart business to do that, yeah. I don't think we're going to want to do that. How did STS become so popular? A lot of JRPG style games still don't show you what the enemy's doing. And a lot of them never did, like in the past. So being able to see what your enemy doing made players feel like they didn't have to lose before learning, or lose to learn. So by Slay the Spire having, you see quite obvious what your opponents are doing. Now there are some moves that enemies have that they just put up a questioning mark thing, and those ones you do have to know the encounter a little bit. But the majority of the encounters, you know what they're doing. Like, what are the ones there you don't know? Like Gremlin Leader, he's summoning people. And once you've played it a couple of times, you know that. But for the majority of the fights, you don't have to remember stuff. You don't have to sort of think, oh, what could these guys be doing? So think of it like in Slay the Spire, taking Runic Dome. How many times do you not take Dome because you're not comfortable thinking, do I know what all the attacks are and what the order of attack patterns are? And prior to that, a lot of games, whether it be a JRPG style combat or something with a deck or any other form of that, that's what the enemies did. And so the guys at Slay the Spire they must have either worked out or thought they'd try something, and turns out people like having the information available because it helps you formulate a good strategy. Yep. Get him. And the reason it's challenging is because even though you get that mechanic that shows you what's going to happen, you still need to... You don't know what's going to happen next turn, or the turn after, or the turn after. And I think, and that's where the difficulty comes and why people struggle, is because in the past you didn't get told anything, and people perceive that to be very hard and not achievable to succeed. Whereas now, in Slay the Spire, because you're getting the one turn, most people just want to solve that turn. And a lot of people look at the fact they're like, okay, if I can block more damage that's incoming, that's the best move. But it's not. You've got to think of what's happening on the next turn. Do I need to take some damage now so that I can kill the enemy in 2 turns? Because on that third turn, you know, it's going to be very bad and uncomfortable for me. And that's where a lot of people die, is that they'll block this turn out, and then block next turn out, and block next turn out, and then the next turn, the enemy just goes, nope. And now you're losing hit points. I think I moved the camera after I rolled the dice. There we go. So it's a way of... And the pacing of the game is good. One of the biggest things in the pacing is that you get in and out of the fights quickly. The card drafting happens very quickly, and you're back in combat again. Now, almost all other games really struggle with that. One game that also does that very well, though, is FTL, where when you're jumping around the map from beacon to beacon, you get to a combat beacon and bang, you're in combat again. You do the combat, you're out of combat. You do the things in between. You know, I think that is probably the other thing too. When it came out, there was only Ascension 0. There was also only 2 characters, but that's neither here nor there. Winning runs took under an hour, okay, or thereabouts, if you were just to sit down and play them. You know, consistently. We're not talking about people that be like, oh, I play runs in 20 minutes. It's like, yeah, well, okay, I don't want to die at the start of Act 2 type of deal most of the time. So we're talking about if you actually want to take just a little bit extra time, slow down and put thought processes and win, you know, runs should probably take, you know, especially on low Ascension, should take between 30 and 60 minutes, depending on how you go. Like if you end up with an aggressive draw or something that just works out a bit faster. So that's very achievable to do on a lunch break, you know, or maybe you're studying and you've finished a lecture here and your next one's in an hour. You know, okay, play around a Slay the Spire. Whereas a lot of games just struggle to fit, you know, to do that. Even if the player is competent at the game and you just force yourself, I'm going to play fast as possible without being reckless. Some of the games just don't allow for that to have happen. Yeah, so my games take a lot longer. I interact with chat a lot, but even the games where I'm concentrating, I take my turns a bit slower. I like to a little bit more methodical, maybe more than I need to be. So I'm never going to get that time lower like other players. But then again, I'm not looking for that time to be lower like other players. I'm looking it to be lower to relative to how I play. I've only seen Last Hex a little bit. I haven't played with it at all, so I don't want to comment on that. As for Trials of Fire, I have played a bit of that as well. I'd be split on this one or that one. I think I'd like to, if you really want to get a game right now, I mean, you probably just have to check out some VODs and have a look and go with which one you think you might get more out of it, or which one you favour in play style a bit more. If you're willing to wait a bit, I'd see which one develops a bit more. They're both in early access. Check it out. There's also Rogue Book from the devs of Faria. It's set in the Faria universe. Coin Crypt. I'll have a look at that after the stream. Rogue Book is available in early access now, but you can't find it on Steam. You have to Google the Kickstarter for it. That's a little interesting one where you've got two characters, and they each have their own cards that play, but the decks are joined. Like, all the cards are shuffled into the one deck, whereas Trials of Fire, each of the characters' decks are separate, and each character draws their own cards. But I think one of the things that I've learnt from, like, I evaluate games, whether I buy them myself or I get given a copy to stream, I sort of evaluate them based on how they are when I play them. I can't evaluate on what might get done. So, and that's a little bit unfair for the developers, but I can't, I can't say, oh, if they do this, then that'll be good. Even if there's promises to do things. So in their current states, I probably wouldn't buy Trials of Fire or Deck of Ashes at the moment. I think both of them have a lot of potential, but I don't buy things on potential. They're both very enjoyable games to play. Just not quite there for me yet. But I'm waiting to see what both of them do. I especially if this game gets more characters, I think that'd be a big draw. One character at the moment's, that's just not quite there. But the game seems like it could. Again, the game could go so far, but until it happens, I can't. For this one, I got a free copy. And a key that I gave out earlier. So when you see a streamer that's got sponsored, that's generally that they either got the game. Most of the time they just got a copy of the game for free, but they were required to, which is kind of weird because obviously instead of buying the game, you get a game for free. So did we get the equivalent cash value? It's hard to say because, is the game actually worth the cash value from the dev if they gave it to someone, like gave someone a key to stream, or not? But it's considered a sponsored stream, so I need to put it up there. Yeah, well, it's one of the things that they've given you a product which has a value in exchange for, in this case, me showcasing it and talking about it and maybe even critiquing a little bit, just giving my general opinion or discussing it with you guys. Different deal. Like, I mean, technically, I suppose it's a contract, right?